this is Kermit the Frog.
Fascinating.
I'm Captain Kirk.
Magic is always there, as long as we keep looking for it.
Engage.
What does God need with a starship?
Thank you, love you. Mwah.
I protest. I am not a merry man.
Places, please. And here we go.
Down at Fraggle Rock.
Welcome, Doozers, Gorgs, Vorgons, and things, to episode 170 of the MuppeTrek Podcast. I'm Jarman.
And I'm Steve. We are on a continuing journey across the stars, comparing the creative worlds of Jim Henson and Gene Roddenberry.
And what started as reviews of The Muppet Show and Star Trek the original series has expanded into outer space.
And this week we have Fraggle Rock episode Boober's Quiet Day and Next Generation episode Captain's Holiday.
But before we do that, Steve, we have some feedback. Our friend Paul Wright, via a Facebook message to our messages on our meta page or business thing. I don't know. He sent a message to Play on Nerds, and he shared an article. Before he said that, he says, when MuppeTrek finishes its run, may I suggest Muppet Marvel? And I was like, oh, what is he talking about? And it's an article saying Disney confirms the Muppets' next comic release is a crossover with a $53 billion mega franchise. It's a real catching headline there, but basically means there's going to be a Muppets crossover comic book line with like the Avengers and Marvel characters and stuff.
I mean, Marvel has already done comics for them. I own a few.
Sure.
So like, there's that aspect to it. So, sure, why not? And then get an alien in there.
Yeah, the
just have an ultimate crossover, and then Fozzie's being hunted by a predator.
And get Batman in there. Who knows?
Oh, come on!
If you look at the cover, though, it's the Muppets take the Marvel Universe, and it's the 70s logo from the Muppets is on there. It's very interesting artwork kind of crossover too. So it's probably be pretty cool collectible, I would say. There's Gonzo with Ghost Rider for it.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Gonzo Ghost Rider.
Some Deadpool action going on there.
Gonzo rides again.
That's right. But thanks for sending that over, Paul. That's definitely right up our alley. But before we move on, Steve, I want to know about some rocks.
I want to rock!
Well, there are all kinds of gems, jewels, and geodes in the world, many of which can be found in Fraggle Rock. And this week's is Hessonite. It is a cinnamon and sort of honey-colored gem, and to the point where it's often called cinnamon stone. It is a member of the garnet family, which is often seen as red, but it's actually a huge spectrum. It's just the red garnets are like the most valuable. It actually comes from the Greek word hesson, which means inferior. Because unlike other granites, it is just softer and less lustrous. So it's just sort of, inferior stone, inferiorite. It's valued not for its clarity, though. Most gems are valued for how much light gets through. In this case, the high values have these sort of swirls and patterns inside that are often compared to running honey or molasses. Oh. And those are the most valuable Hessonite, not the clear ones.
It looks like someone froze scotch. Just made it into ice cubes.
Yeah. That's Hessonite, and that rocks.
That rocks.
I want to rock!
Well, what's up, Doc? What's going down in Fraggle Rock? Sprocket is away for the night at the vet, and Doc is just missing him something terrible. Doc resists the urge to call, but the phone rings. It's the doctor. He fears the worst, but Sprocket just wants to talk. He's going to go get him the next day. What's going down in Fraggle Rock? Boober tries to take a nap, but his alter ego Sidebottom hitches a ride back to the real world. He ends up telling a lie to Tosh, a character I'm not sure if we've ever seen before.
Don't think so.
That he's going to go away so he can't watch her pet. And Sidebottom apparently made him lie, kind of. This involves into him pretending that he has to take an overnight trip to the Lilac Caves. And Red confronts him, but she can't come because the gypsy lady's going to be at his place that night. All while Sidebottom eggs him on all along the way. The lies grow bigger and bigger, and so does Boober's adventurous day. Next thing you know, Boober is dressed up as a gypsy lady and lying to all his friends. Gobo reads Uncle and Traveling Matt's postcard as a distraction. Uncle Traveling Matt encounters silly creatures that love a piece of cloth. They keep it on their laps like a pet, and then they kiss it repeatedly. He tries it, but he just doesn't quite understand. Boober gets out of his disguise as the gypsy lady, but he also then has to lie to Red about having run to and from the Lilac Caves. Now he just has to put on the gypsy costume, sing songs, and tell fortunes, and then that's it. The lie's done. Sidebottom convinces him. But meanwhile, Gobo is trying to throw a surprise party for the gypsy lady. So Boober has to continue the lie and try to tell fortunes. Then he sings, Sidebottom feeds him lines, and when the real gypsy lady shows up, the jig is up. His lies have finally caught up with him, and all he wanted was a nice, quiet day. And that's when his friends revealed, well, then all you had to do was ask.
Oh.
Boober had to admit that he really did have a good day, and he says that he will let Sidebottom out more often. So, Darren, what do you think of this week's episode of Fraggle Rock?
Just like I love a good Wembley episode, the second best is probably a good Boober episode. The characters don't get enough love, and he's just a fun character to knock around, especially when you get crazy Sidebottom involved. And now we kind of know for sure that Sidebottom wasn't just some weird fever dream of one episode. Like, he was actually kind of real.
I like that this is a callback. We don't get that many character callbacks.
No. Yeah, with these side characters, I mean, like, at least he's real to Boober. I don't know if he's actually real in the canon, like a magical being inside of him. So I don't know.
It's like the twin that he swallowed or whatever.
Yeah. And the trash heap just magically made it, survive in his mind.
Hey, Marjorie.
But one thing a little bit cringy we have to address, of course, is that something
gypsy.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known again. Even a couple years ago. I wasn't aware somehow because my ignorant white male ass didn't know that the term gypsy is considered offensive culturally to Romani people. And luckily, my wife's best friend is Romani descent, and she was the one who kind of informed me that that's not a cool thing to say, and more people are educated on that now. But these are the innocent Fraggles from back in the 80s. They didn't know any better, and we're not going to hold against them.
This was children's programming.
Right.
Mistakes were made.
I do like how they called out the accent, though, because like he's doing this wacky, weird accent that doesn't sound Romanian or anything.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What is that an accent of a gypsy lady?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure it is." That was really funny. But in the end, a very good message about not lying. Not only that, but because it's just going to compound and get worse. And just if you're honest with your friends, they might surprise you and they'll do what you want if you just talk to your friends honestly about what you need. Good message.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So what do you think, Steve?
It is. Good. I agree. The G word was rough. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, we're going to hear this word a lot. Like, I know this isn't a one-off. We're going to hear this 1,000 times.
And I'm going to be using it in reference to this episode. So that's why we're using it now. It's okay, I think.
I don't know. I wish the music had been a little bit better, but the one good number we got was really good.
I thought so, yeah.
I wish there had been more. The song, I kissed a like that crazy gypsy song.
I'm just gonna say gypsy song faster. Yeah.
Yes, gypsy song. Was good. I just wish there was more of it. It felt like the stakes got all over the place for him as far as his lies go. I wish it had been a clear escalating path to his own destruction. And I wish we got like Sidebottom would have maybe gotten to take over at some point.
Yeah.
And like save the day or something, kind of.
Do they know Sidebottom exists yet? Like the rest of the Fraggles? I can't remember from another episode.
Yeah, because they like went into Boober's dream. It was like Freddy's nightmare, kind of.
Yeah.
And Sidebottom trapped them there.
Mm-hmm.
So some ups and downs. This is probably higher in the season, realistically.
Yeah, it was a well done episode.
I'm not sure it's going to end up top 3.
I could see that. Yeah, it's an upper middle.
Yeah, upper middle.
But worth watching.
So, Jarman, what do you think was the best Muppeteering moment in this very solid episode?
Well, first I got to know what those silly creatures are up to.
Oh, shit. I was on the note, too. Silly creatures, the little creatures on the laps are kissing are napkins, which have been used in some form for more than 2,000 years.
Oh.
It comes from the French word nape, which was a tablecloth, and kin is the diminutive version, so it just means like little cloth or little tablecloth. In ancient Greece, actually, guests brought their own napkins to dinners and events, not just for wiping hands and faces, but that's also what they would use to wrap up and take leftovers, which was a common practice at the time. In the Middle Ages, tablecloths became these large sort of communal cloths that weren't tablecloths. They were there for entire groups of people to wipe their hands on. And it wasn't until the 1800s that really they became a status symbol. With the wealthy having multiple sets, fancy decorations, lace, specific ones for occasions. They became very much like a well-to-do sort of thing. And then in the mid-20th century, that's when they went wide with paper napkins, making them cheap, easy, available everywhere. And now they're used in restaurants, fast food, and all over the world. So that's what those silly creatures are up to. They're using napkins.
I was hoping when I watched this, I'm like, he's going to do the history of napkins now. I'm like, I love it.
Dude, that's the best part about this stuff is I don't have to pick. I just got to like look a thing up.
It's pretty great. And I like the unique thing of like, if an alien saw us using napkins, they'd be like, what are they doing? It's very strange.
Oh, yeah. And I mind you, some of the Uncle Traveling Mats are like more clever than others, but I feel like this was one of the pretty clever ones.
I thought it was clever too. Yeah. It was good.
So now, what did you think was the best Muppeteering moment?
Yes, for me, I was very impressed with all the transitions from Boober to Side Bottom and Side Bottom to Boober. Like they were kind of going in and out of each other. There was two of them on screen. Sometimes it was green screen. Sometimes it was two puppets on at the same time. And I was like, they interchanged that all really well. And it was done pretty non-distractingly. Like it looked pretty good and real to me. I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. The Side Bottom, that was maybe one of the worst parts about the last Side Bottom episode, is there were times where the effect got really, really weird and like just didn't transition right. And I felt like this Side Bottom, you're right, the in and out of each other, jumping up and down in frame and taking like superimposing over each other was just so much more successful.
Yeah.
I think they learned a lot of lessons from last time.
They must have.
So I agree that all the Side Bottom stuff was way better. I did love Boober impersonating the gypsy lady.
Yeah.
We're almost done. We're almost out of it.
We're almost there, guys.
We're almost out of it. The gypsy lady. It was just so funny because it was one of the things where I was like, no one would ever mistake Boober or gypsy lady because he's got the wig on, but it's still Boober. And then she comes on and I'm like, how do any Fraggles tell each other apart? You put a hat on and you could be any Fraggle.
As soon as the gypsy lady came on screen, I was like, that looks a lot like Boober. Oh, okay. They're going to change them up later.
So yeah, I just him acting like another character was very funny to me. And because of that, we got a great musical number out of Boober that we otherwise never would have gotten.
That's true.
So I loved that aspect.
Yeah. Boober singing like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, it does not. It's typically sad, dowdy songs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, German, what happened on this week's episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation?
This time we have Captain's Holiday. So after exhausting negotiations between two alien civilizations, the entire senior staff basically conspires to get Picard to take a vacation because he's being really short and snippy with people, more so than usual. But he wants none of it, but they wear him down and he eventually agrees for a week on Risa, which is a pleasure planet that has apparently been engineered from the ground up to be the most enjoyable place in the known galaxy. And man, do I want to go to Risa. Before he beams down, Riker is very helpfully suggests that he pick up a local souvenir called a Horgon while he's there.
Yeah, just bring it back for him.
Yeah, that's fine. He deliberately neglects telling him that openly displaying one is the Ryzen way of announcing that you're actively seeking something called Jamaharan. Wink, wink.
It's a sex totem.
It's a sex totem. I'm open and ready for business. On arrival, a woman he's never met before kisses him out of nowhere and then claims she mistook him for someone else. But he insists he just wants to read his book in peace. He's even bothered by waiters and waitresses because he has the Horgon out and he's just like, I just want to read. So that's why he figures out what the Horgon means and hides it quickly. Shortly thereafter, though, after this Ferengi saw this woman kissing him, this Ferengi named Sovak tracks him down and warns him to stay away from that woman and hand over the disc, neither of which Picard knows anything about. He very awesomely sends the Ferengi away by like just scaring the crap out of him. But the woman comes back and introduces herself as Vash. And just before Picard can remove himself from her again, the Ferengi Sovak returns and he's like, aha, I knew you guys knew each other. And as they're talking, she slips something into Picard's pocket that only we see, but Picard does not see.
Ooh.
So back in his room, he finds randomly these two creepy aliens waiting for him in his room. And they call themselves Vorgons, and they claim to be security officers from the 27th century. And their story is that a scientist named Cal Dano, invented a device called the Tox Uthat, capable of halting all nuclear reactions within a star. Then he traveled back in time to hide it from criminals who were trying to steal it, who could then demolish stars. According to the Vorgon historical records, Picard finds it on Risa during this specific vacation, and they'd like him to hand it over when he does find it, because he's like, I don't have it. I don't know what you're talking about. But he had heard of the Tox Uthat. He's like, oh, that's a very famous archaeological myth, and he thinks it never really existed. Once they leave, Picard finds the disc in his pocket that Vash put there, and he confronts her about it. She says that she was an assistant to an archaeologist named Professor Estragon, who spent his life searching for the Uthat and finally pinpointed its location just before he died to here on Risa. And he gave her this disc for safekeeping, and it has all of his research notes on it. She hid the disc in Picard's pocket to keep it from Sovak, the Ferengi. But Sovak has a different version of the story, though. He paid Vash to find it and bring it to him, and she took his money and cut him out of the whole deal. Vash used the money to come to Risa to get the Uthat. So Picard disapproves of all this, but Vash points out that she successfully outconned a Ferengi, which Picard says is generally impressive. Wink, wink. She charms him into heading out there together to find the Tox Uthat together, and he can't resist. He's an archaeologist as well at heart, and he just loves that whole idea. And he's getting the hots for Vash.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That hot Vash.
Hot Vash act. Give me that hot Vash. Oh, boy. Vash says the Uthat is in a nearby cave, so they start to head there, but they are confronted by Sovak again. But they're able to knock him out and head out anyway. So they head to the caves, they camp for one night, and possibly get it on. We're not really sure. Then they finally get to
They do whatever that funny thing they said at the beginning was.
Oh, the Jahamaron or whatever?
Yeah, whatever that is, that they definitely Jahamaron, you know?
Jahamaron.
Jahamaron.
The next day, they finally get to the spot that it's supposed to be located at, and they start to dig for it. And the Vorgons materialize again. Like, we're just here to watch. Historical moment.
That was great.
But Sovak also appears, the Ferengi, and he holds them at gunpoint until they find it, because he wants to steal it from them. But after digging for a long time, Picard and Vash convince all of them that the cave must be empty and that Professor Estragon must have been wrong because they should have found it by now. But Sovak doesn't want to believe it, so he stays there and he keeps digging, depressed or desperately. The Vorgons are confused. They dematerialize, and Picard and Vash head back to the villa. Vash looks super depressed that she didn't find it. She tells Picard, I just want to be alone. But Picard catches Vash after that, slipping out of the resort, all dressed up to the nines. And he confronts her, and she finally admits that she arrived on Risa early. She found the Uthat herself, and she staged the whole expedition as a decoy so she could use Picard's presence to convince Sovak that the artifact wasn't there and that he'd just leave her alone. The Vorgons reappear the moment she pulls it out of the nearby Horgon that she stashed it in. Vash tells Picard that Estragon's notes identified two Vorgons as the original criminals the device was hidden from in the first place, meaning that the people claiming to be there to safely retrieve it are the exact people it was hidden from in the first place. So Picard quickly drops it on the ground and signals Riker, who he had talked to earlier and given instructions, to beam it away and kind of destroy it at the same time. They kind of use the transporters to and just blow it up.
Was it like Order 12 or
Order 14?
Order 14?
Yeah.
14, there we go.
The Vorgons confirm that history did record Picard destroying the Uthat, and they admit defeat and leave. I'm guessing meaning that they were hoping they could avoid what history says happened, but it happened anyway. Vash then floats the idea of hey, I could join the Enterprise and hang out with you some more. And he's like, I don't think you would like the discipline on the Starfleet vessel. And they don't do that, and they'll always have Risa, I guess.
They'll always have, the Pong Fire. What was it again?
Jahamaron.
Jahamaron.
We said that wrong.
Jahamaron.
So, Steve, what do you think of this episode?
Okay, some free-floating thoughts. This whole thing felt really 90s sitcom. Goofy reaction shots, light music on the transitions instead of the normal brooding stuff. Everything sort of like ended on a joke.
True.
Or it was just the dialogue was quippier, and so was the filming of it. It was strange.
Brighter. Yeah.
Yeah. The music, the visiting mother-in-law being what forces him out. Like even that felt sitcom-y as shit. I know it wasn't mother-in-law, but it was that same archetype, Deanna Troy's mom.
Yeah.
They showed an Andorian. Are their heads normally that huge?
What Andorian?
There was somebody in the back that had big white head and antenna.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
In the back of a shot, but the head was huge. It was like a football helmet size on top. It was, and I went, when the fuck did Andorian start looking like that? So I'm not. Maybe it was an Andorian.
Maybe not. I didn't even see that.
Maybe not. So maybe take a look. But yeah, I was like, man, that's a big ass head.
Maybe they didn't want to do the makeup, so just like a big helmet instead. It was like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Riker tricking Picard into getting a sex totem was real good. I love the Ferengi creep, just very well delivered. At one point, he says, "I'll pay your weight in gold," and it became this question of, does gold still have value?
So they explain that better and expand on that in Deep Space Nine with more Ferengi, since Ferengi are like a whole like capitalist society that's in a galaxy full of a lot of, non-capitalist societies. They love their gold pressed latinum is what they call it. So they eventually evolved that from not really being gold. It's something called latinum, which is some imaginary thing, but it's pressed with gold, and it has value across the galaxy with all the capitalist community. So if you're going random places, Starfleet will bring along gold pressed latinum to use as currency. And so that's kind of retconning what he probably meant by that. But yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Nerdy explanation.
Time traveling roof thieves. I put room thieves. I like that. He just comes in there going through his shit. That was great.
Hello.
This all seems very convenient. At one point, when they were deciding to go on their adventure through the caves, I said, this is all very convenient. And I said, is this going to end like The Game with Michael Douglas? Where like the crew knew that this was the vacation Picard needed and it's all just a fucking ruse.
I'd never seen that movie, so I wasn't sure where that was going.
Who's the son?
No, that's Michael Douglas, yeah.
Michael Douglas, nailed it. All of a sudden, it became, speaking of Michael Douglas, it became Romancing the Stone at one point.
Mm-hmm. All
like,
good
just
movies.
Out of nowhere, I was like, why is this Romancing the Stone? Picard gets down underground with the thing you said. I can't remember.
John Marone.
And I immediately, when we were getting towards the end of the episode and there was like, they didn't find it, I was like, man, what a letdown from the Utat until the twist where she was like, I need to be alone. And I thought to myself, she has it. And Joyce, my daughter, literally went, she has it. I went, yep.
That's cute.
It was good. It was great to see her like notice the story.
Yeah, that's subtext and everything. That's great.
And then nice kind of sweet ending between her and Picard, and he knows that she shouldn't be there, and that kind of crap. Overall, pretty good episode. I wish we would have gotten a little bit more, we'll say, B plot.
Yeah, there wasn't much of a B plot of any kind.
Like check back ins on the ship. I get that this was like a budget episode or give a bunch of people a week off episode. Like I get it. Those episodes have to exist, but
I wouldn't even say budget episode because there was locations and there was, other sets and other aliens.
In this case, this was the vacation episode.
Yeah. I do like any of these shows doing at least 1 or 2 episodes a season where there's just one plot and it's just kind of they can follow one thing all the way through, because I think it would have broken up the feel of that you were getting, that lighter feel, if they had kept cutting back to the ship like it would have felt like any other episode.
All I know is that this is like 2 episodes in a row now where there's like no good Data stuff.
Yeah, when you get back to
just
Data.
Has been around. Now, mind you, the one before that was a huge Data episode where he had his kid.
Lol. Yeah.
Yeah. Lol. Thol.
Lol.
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 Lol. But overall, a good episode. I just wish there'd been more balance. Like this is not going to beat out an episode that has like the whole cast doing something.
Very true. That's the same with like any Fraggle Rock episode. It's like even with Boober this time, it was, a lot of Boober, not much else. But I loved the awkward Vorgons, sexy Vash. I loved how well she worked with Picard because like they had great chemistry, which is hard to do with Patrick Stewart because he's like kind of an enigma because he's a strapping man, but he's, not conventionally attractive, but he's just like, what kind of woman do you put Picard with? And I think they nailed it with Vash. I think she was awesome. The snivelly Ferengi, he was great. I'd watch, honestly, a whole goofy series of adventures with Picard and Vash, just kind of going through, doing capers and stuff.
Legit.
But yeah, nothing overly groundbreaking or wonderful or amazing, but just a fun romp of an episode. So I think it's like an upper middle episode for me, kind of like the Fraggle Rock episode. Just pretty good. It's pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good. Yeah.
So some Trek facts. Michael Dorn, who plays Worf, of course, he can be seen twice. I had to rewatch this because I did not notice in this episode without his Klingon makeup. He's a tourist on Risa. In fact, he's the first character to appear in the episode as it starts on Risa. He walks across the screen left to right with a woman in red. And then as the picture zooms back, he can be seen walking toward the back of the space on the right, and he's wearing a purple tank top and orange swim bottoms. And he can be seen again in the scene where Vash slips the disc into Picard's tunic. He's sitting in a wicker chair behind Vash, Picard, and Ferengi on the right in the same outfit. So I had to go back and watch because I didn't see him at all. But it's fun.
Man, I would never have noticed.
Just throwing him in without makeup. That's great. The scene where Dr. Crusher tells Captain Picard about a member of the crew that is showing signs of stress and exhaustion and pretending he doesn't know it's him. It's a similar scene, happens exactly that way in Shore Leave in the original series. Spock attempts the same strategy with Captain Kirk, which tricks Kirk into saying that the crew member is under orders to accept shore leave, to which Spock then reveals that crewman in question is actually the captain. However, when Beverly attempts to do this, Picard sees through her ruse before she can get through the whole thing because he's Picard. He's a smart guy. The view of Risa when the Enterprise comes into orbit is actually Australia, specifically focused on the state of South Australia, which I didn't notice either. A lot of things go back and watch.
Yeah, I never would have called that.
The part of the Ferengi Sovak is played by Max Grodenchik, or Czech, who later had a recurring role as Quark's brother Rom in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He's like one of the main crew, cast members of Deep Space Nine as one of the Ferengi.
Cool.
And he's a fantastic Ferengi. This episode is the only time that transporter code 14 we mentioned earlier is used or mentioned in the entire franchise, which I think totally makes sense because it's kind of overpowered.
Yeah, well, it's just like, hey, code 14, 2-second delay, blow this shit up.
Yeah, you could do that to anything, any vehicle, any spaceship. Just like
any person,
blow up their warp core. Yeah, any person. Like it's way too overpowered. Transporter code 14 on the Borg, please. Just knock them out.
Yeah, I wish that they had given any sort of like reason that it works.
Something, yeah.
That limits it or doesn't make it a superpower.
Or that's not safe, or something like that. Yeah.
We can't do that without risking the core, like.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's why they never mentioned that again. Because like we backed yourself in the corner with that one. That feels very original series where many times they're like, we're going to bring this thing up and we're never going to talk about it again. Pretty much.
Wouldn't that like change the course of Starfleet? No. We're never going to talk about it again.
It'll only come up again in lower decks at some point. That's when they'll bring it up again. But this is probably some of the juiciest trivia that I had on here. The reason the chemistry between Vash and Picard was so good is because Sir Patrick Stewart had an affair with the actress who played her, Jennifer Hetrick, while filming this episode. He was married and had an affair with her during the filming of this episode. And he told the public that himself in his 2023 autobiography, Making It So. It's only 3 years ago, Making It So, his autobiography, he revealed this. So wow, that's why their chemistry was so good. They were doing it in real life. They were John Maronin in real life.
John Marone, baby.
And the last thing, a final scene was originally written, which mirrored the first scene on Risa, suggesting that the Vorgons did indeed make another and possibly successful attempt to obtain the Toxu Thought. In the end, though, the scene was not realized, and it was deemed a little confusing and didn't quite work, according to the writer and producer, Michael Piller. So yeah, they could have shown that the Vorgon can just keep coming back and trying over and over again because they're time travelers, so why not?
Yeah, I did not care for the Vorgon plot in this. Now that I'm thinking about it, you just described it, I was like, that was clunky as hell.
Didn't quite make a lot of sense.
Well, it did because Picard, you're right, is such a peculiar character that they were like, well, he's not going to go because of a woman, and he's not going to go because he just doesn't want nonsense. So they had to create an external reason that he would play along. Otherwise, Jean-Luc Picard would not play along.
Right. He wouldn't go with this woman Vash to do anything.
Yeah, he wouldn't have done any of it. He wouldn't have been Indiana Jones. He would have read his fucking book. So because of that, it feels weird and external and clunky the more you were talking about it. And I was like, it didn't feel right.
Yeah, and they could have just had Vash pull him in, both with her charm and with her interest in archaeology. Because I don't know if this is the first episode to establish that, but that goes with his character from now on, at least, that he's really into old relics and objects and archaeology. And so her just being intriguing on her own and then saying something about that, you wouldn't need this whole alien subplot of the Vorgons. It's not really necessary, you know?
No, if anything, all they needed to do was they needed to give the Ferengi guy like 2 thugs. And then, they're after me. They're tossing my room. And Picard now has a reason he has to leave because he can't fight them.
Yeah, he's just a good guy and he's going to help her out because she's a person in distress.
Right, because it was like this one Ferengi vaguely threatening.
Yeah, they're never intimidating by themselves.
At least they're not monkey squirrel men anymore. Like when they introduced them,
whips.
Those poor bastards. Let's hop around like monkey squirrel.
But Steve, what are our Trek connections this time around?
So there's only one, but it's juicy. Ooh. So one of the Vorgons, Baratus, played by actor Michael Champion, who's been in a ton of stuff, but he was in History of the World Part 1, which of course stars Mel Brooks, Muppet Movie, Gregory Hines, Muppets Take Manhattan, Dom DeLuise, Muppet Show and Muppet Movie, Harvey Korman, Muppet Show, Cloris Leachman, Muppet Show and Muppet Movie, Madeline Kahn, Muppet Movie and Muppet Show, Orson Welles, Muppet Movie.
Wow.
And then I remember us when we were going through it, we're sort of remarking on how much Mel Brooks crossover there is between Muppets and his sort of cavalcade of people. And this was like the clearest illustration where I was like, I've never seen so many in one place.
so
we're just in it. We're in both.
Dom DeLuise and all that stuff.
Dom DeLuise, Merladop. Man, that deep cut. So that's the one Trek connection. It was only one, but it is juicy.
That was great. Which
makes sense. These are both the same friggin' episode.
Oh, it's so true. Both have the main characters doing a major costume change. Boober in the old gypsy woman outfit and Picard in his stylin' Risa clothes.
They were pretty stylin'. He looked like he was going to a discotheque.
In the 1970s.
Both feature someone trying to find relaxation and failing. Boober and his side bottom side quest, and Picard finding a mystery to solve.
Oh, it's true. Both Sovak, the Ferengi, and Sidebottom both act as agents of chaos and confusion in their episodes, and they're both just kind of that same squirrel monkey energy.
Squirrel monkey energy. Both feature characters lying about having been someplace. Boober lies to Red about having run to the Lilac Caves and back that same day, just like Vash lies about having not been to the cave for the Uthat before that point.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Same episode.
What? Same.
The hell is that?
Transporter malfunction.
Jesus.
Oh, just so it announces it. If we wait a second, it tells us.
Yeah, that's what it was. It tells us what it is.
Transporter malfunction.
Now's a time in our episode where we take one character from one of the episodes and we switch them with the other one, and then we do the same thing back the other direction. So what you got for Steve?
Trek to Rock this week, I'm going to bring over Sovak, the Ferengi, and replace Sidebottom. I just think it would be funny watching him like sniveling around and appearing and being like, we should lie to them. I'll give you all the gold. Because like Sidebottom had that little sort of impact on the actual story. I was like, it could just be Sovak.
Telling you that squirrel monkey energy.
Squirrel monkey energy.
Trek to Rock. I'm going to bring Vash over to replace the old gypsy woman. Probably last time I'll say that, I promise. She'd pretend to be all infirm with a peg leg, but she'd really just be robbing the Fraggles blind of all their priceless artifacts and gems.
Pickpocketing all of them like Indiana Jones. All right, well, I get the last one. Rock to Trek. I'm going to bring over the gypsy lady and replace Vash. I think it would just be really funny to watch Boober dressed as a woman blatantly lie to Picard to drag him through the plot of this episode.
Very nice. Rock to Trek. I'd bring over Boober and Sidebottom to replace the two Vorgons. It would give them a lot more personality.
We like to watch.
Yeah, watching's fun. Oh, boy. But that brings us to the end of episode 170 of the MuppeTrek Podcast.
Join us next time for Fraggle Rock episode, The Invasion of the Toe Ticklers. This is the last episode of season 2, which will bring up our season roundup and overall top 3, bottom 3 so far.
It's already happening, man. And Star Trek The Next Generation episode, Tin Man, not the last episode of that season.
No, we got a little ways to go. So, from the lovers, the dreamers, and us.
Live long and prosper, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the MuppeTrek Podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media on Facebook and Twitter.
Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
This podcast has been brought to you by A Play on Nerds.